Welcome back to another episode of the Lehigh Valley Prospects Field Hockey Podcast presented by Smith Sports Media. I'm your host, LJ Smith, and on this Field Hockey Coach's Corner episode, I have the privilege of being joined by Ashley Irwin, the head coach at Wilkes University. Ashley, thank you for taking some time with me to record this episode.
LJ, thanks so much for having me this afternoon.
Just very excited to learn your story. As you alluded to before we started recording, you saw a couple of the other episodes, and we're going to dive into your story. I'm excited to learn about how you came up through field hockey and now your journey leading you to the head coach at Wilkes University. So why don't we dive right in? Let's start right away with, when did you first get introduced to the sport of field hockey?
So I actually first started playing in 8th grade. I was an avid basketball lover all growing up. Attended, Nike basketball camps at Westchester and just did everything from the ground up to go play. And my middle school basketball coach, Rick Trowbridge, he reached out to me one day and he's like, I really think you should give field hockey a try. So I gave it a go, and the coach at the time was Mrs. Germani, and she was super sweet and awesome, did a great job with our youth program in our community at Daniel Boone. And her daughter was actually a good friend of mine from basketball, Nicole Germani, as well. So it was kind of just the community that linked the two together. From there, it was just kind of history. I played. I wasn't really a fan of the skirt or the kilt, so to speak, that you had to wear. Back then, we had the big plaid ones that wrapped around you like 3 times. But then I was, enjoyed it. Was successful. A lot of my friends who played basketball played as well. So I kept it going and played in 9th grade. Then all throughout high school, just kind of slowly fell in love with it more and more. And then the rest was kind of history. Thought I would go play basketball at the college level. And again, was woken up by the fact that, no, you should go do field hockey. So just my crazy journey, it put me into the game, and I've never left since.
So that influence in 8th grade, sticking through it, did you have opportunities in high school to maybe play other sports? You said basketball. Were you just a dual sport athlete? Did you play anything else throughout your career in high school?
Yeah, I love multi-sport athletes. Me, myself, I'm a big jock. Like, I just love to play sports. If I could play football, I probably would have played football in the fall. But back in my day, we couldn't. If we had flag football like they do in the spring, I would have loved that. But for me, I did field hockey, I did basketball, and then I tried softball. Believe it or not, I found it boring. So those that like softball, don't hold any offense to me. So then I went and I ran track. I was pretty fast, or at least I thought it was. I ran track and I jumped, and I did that for fun. After I left, my high school team had added lacrosse, so I was bummed that I missed out on that opportunity too. So it was one where I always just kind of anything to play for fun and be active with my friends was what I was all about, for sure.
Did you notice any similarities or things that could cross over from your experience in basketball and track and field that are compatible to field hockey?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, the speed, right? Us as coaches in field hockey, I preach it all the time. You can't coach speed. So that was just fun. I played defense. So for me, the getting into position and the angles and the way that you approach the body, that was all a super easy transition. But then I just loved the grittiness in playing defense in field hockey, where I'm stopping you from doing what you want to do. And then when I get it, I didn't have stick skills whatsoever. I still joke with my girls to this day. The wide dodge was my go-to move. And we played on grass, so it was just a simple dump, sprint around you. And then I whacked it really hard down the side. So it was fun, it was aggressive, and it was just something I really loved to do.
Now, playing in high school, were there any club opportunities that presented themselves? Is that something you pursued in high school?
Yeah, so I'm not older, but I'm not younger. So I graduated high school in 2006. So club was coming of age for me in my area in Berks County. It was not really that big, but then my mom always said, it's either field hockey or basketball. We can't afford to do both. So I was on that track. I played AAU basketball and all those leagues of that sort. But at the field hockey level, I was old school. I just played in the fall, and I was that multi-sport athlete that just could hit the ball really hard and run really fast.
Okay, that's excellent. Hearing just the true natural fall field hockey story. I feel it's not as common nowadays. It's like very sports centric. You don't do the multi-sport. There are still multi-sport athletes, but just being able to do for high school, I feel, is very non-traditional nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, especially more so for the sport of field hockey, right? I feel like the girls they're playing more and more all year round. Big thing for me, especially in our recruitment style and just our coaching style as coaches, we were multi-sport athletes. So we know you can easily get burnt out from playing all year round. The biggest thing that I really emphasize is you can hurt your body more by playing field hockey all year round, right? Because you're using the same muscles and the same mechanics, and that overuse, it does more of a hinder to the athlete than it helps them. But, then if you kind of you give the glutes and the hammies a break, right? And you don't play squatted in field hockey, and maybe you go play basketball or you go do golf or you switch it up, whatever it is to just we always say, let your mind be at ease, especially playing at the college level. As much as it's for fun, it is a secondary job at times too. So, especially for those athletes, they're playing at high calibers, they're playing with high level clubs. But then we really love to see them try and do something else too to just let their mind be free.
You're talking about recruiting. What was your recruiting experience like?
Tool so different. Back then, we didn't have the search engines, and NCSA was not even a thought, as great as it is now. So it was just one where I had mentioned previously, I had a great relationship with Deidre Kane. She was the former women's basketball coach down at Westchester. And I was pretty set that I was going to go play there. I'm a whopping 5'6", so that really didn't work out for me. She was super nice and I could have had a walk on, but it just wasn't in the cards. And then I kind of looked at Albright because it was Daniel Boone, so it was a local school for me. I thought maybe I was set to go there, and good friends of mine were on the basketball team at Albright at the time. I'd go play pickup, and I realized it was only 20 minutes away. So, believe it or not, I know I'm sitting here doing an interview for Wilkes, but I landed at King's College because it was identical to Albright. It was a perfect 2 hours away where I could be away. Um, and then I met the awesome goat, as we call her, from our crew, our coach Cheryl Ish, and I had conversation with her. I got to watch the team play for a little bit, and I think by the end of their practice, I was told that's where I was going. So for me, it was just kind of the shoulda, woulda, couldas that didn't work out, but then something later ended up being an even better situation for me.
So you go to King's College, your first season. What was it like stepping on the field as a collegiate athlete?
So scary because I walked into a really great situation. We had some heavy hitters in our senior class. Lindsay Sabo, who is in our Hall of Fame, if not will be someday. And we joked she was on our bookstore wall. She was awesome. Deb Wychak, Rianda, just crazy good seniors. And we ended up winning our first ever conference championship. So for me, I was that little fish in a very, very big pond, and I sat behind some really good seniors, and I learned my first year. Went to the first round of NCAAs, and that was my first true opportunity to play. Playing with them, practicing with them, having that experience, it set me up to be successful. And then we went back right there in '07, and we won again, and it was awesome. So my experience at Kings was just one where I was grateful for the opportunity that I ended up there. And it was a really great situation. Seven, we were nationally ranked. We won back to back. I was truly playing. I felt like I had a valued position within the team. And then we stayed competitive still in '08 and '09. Just unfortunately lost in those conference championships. So it was one where I was very fortunate for my time and very happy to have been there.
So, two conference championships, competitive career at King's College. What was your plan after King's? Did you have any type of plan? What was your degree in? What did that look like for you?
Yeah, so for me at the time, still evolving in higher ed. So we had elementary education was a major, but then I also focused in special education. So for us, we couldn't get done in 4 years. So I finished up my fifth year focusing more on my special ed certification. And obviously, being in the area and being done in the afternoon, I was available to coach. So Cheryl called me again and asked if I'd be willing to coach at the local high school, Myers High School. I said, absolutely. Like, are you nuts? So walked right into it. It was such a fun opportunity being right from when you thought you were all done to now walking right into a coaching career, not even a year out of college, just months out of college. It was such a fun experience. And then I stayed coaching and stayed involved in the game and was fortunate enough in that.
So, expanding into the high school field hockey world, how long did you stay in that field before you got your first head coaching job at the collegiate level?
Yeah, so you know how it is, right? Local high schools, you do one sport, well, they ask you to do another one. So then I did the junior high basketball team, and I loved that. We won our Saturday rec league that we played our first year. It was fun times. And then I met an awesome woman, Colleen Wood. She had started the Coughlin lacrosse program there, and I think we had met at a Dome League game. And she's like, "Hey, you know anything about lacrosse?" And I said, "I do." And she goes, "You want to help me coach?" And I said, "I'd love to." So then I walked right into that. So I coached field hockey and basketball and helped out at Myers doing that. And then I was at Coughlin. Then a friend of mine had heard that Keystone College was looking for a coach, and it was 2 weeks before preseason had started. So I was ready to go into preseason myself. I thought, hey, why not give it a go? So I put in my resume, and at the time, the AD that was there, I think I called him like 2, 3 times in a row to make sure he got it. And then a couple days later, we had done our interview, and the next day, I was in it. I was getting ready we had new uniforms that were delivered. The previous coach was awesome. It was just a simple plug and play for me. So all I had to do was focus on coaching. And we hit the ground running, and I was at Keystone. My first year solely focused on field hockey, and then rolled right into doing field hockey and women's lacrosse. And I did that for 5, 6 years. I think I did both. And then COVID hit and the craziness hit, and I moved into an assistant athletic director role. I stepped down from lacrosse. We hired a great coach and tried to get the program off the ground running with them solely having their coach so I could focus on field hockey. And then right before I left, I decided to go back to lacrosse one more time, and I was field hockey and women's lacrosse for the year. And then was fortunate enough, the position at Wilkes had opened, and I thought, let's give it a go. And then the week before lacrosse season was about to start, I was down at Wilkes. So it's been a heck of a ride. This is my 10th full year in it at the collegiate level. So it's one where just counting my blessings with, awesome people that I've been fortunate enough to work with along the way. But at the same time, always willing to do a very odd job or whatever the job is that needs to be done too.
And taking that leap from high school coach to college coach and multi-sport coach for that matter too, were there any challenges or obstacles you overcame to kind of learn what you had to do and better prepared you for those roles at the collegiate level?
I think with taking the jump, because I was fortunate enough at Myers and Coughlin, they're just such a high caliber level of an athlete that you could coach them like a college athlete, right? My mannerism's always the same, whether you're in 7th grade or 17th grade. So that's just kind of the coach that I am. So it wasn't really hard at that level. I think the hardest part and the biggest adjustment I had was when I took over the lacrosse program, and it was 0-10 from the year before. And it was just one where I'll never forget that crew. It was, if you know the movie The Little Giants. Okay, so they were my little giants, and it was cliche enough that we were at Keystone and we were the
Yeah.
Giants, right? So I had the 2 tallest girls from the volleyball team, so that they could be on my draw. I had, 4 girls that I picked up from the basketball team because, well, they could help me play zone defense because it was pretty comparable. So then I had my poor souls that I convinced from the field hockey team to come help me and fill in some gaps. I think we had some cheerleaders as well. So it was a pure hodgepodge of a team, but it was one where it was like, I still expected them to win because I knew that they could, because they were just a great group of kids and they were so coachable. So I think that was kind of the hardest. And then I settled my expectations, but then they went out and for a team that was 0-10 the year before, in my personal crazy opinion, I thought they killed it. I think we were 4 and something. We won our first game. I'll never forget this speech. I told them, guys, you could eat bonbons for the rest of the year. We're good. If you won one, like, you're way better than what you were. So it's, sky's the limit. So I think that was the tough part. But then athletics, it is crazy. I think you have to be of a different mindset to work in our field. But it was just kind of, I think at times, the balancing act, then doing the administrative work. I just felt it pulled me away from being a coach. So I think you learn to control your crazy in higher ed and especially in sports. So just going back to solely coaching and being the life of the team and involved in the sport was what I find myself at peace and really happy doing now.
So you're at your current spot at Wilkes. Now, looking ahead, how would your current players describe you and your coaching style?
That's a great question. I think it depends on the setting, right? There's three coaches that you or three versions of Irwin that you might get, right? Like if it's just practice, I'm music's blaring, I'm dancing, making you dance. People who don't dance, I harass even more by dancing. So it's just kind of that chill, enjoyable person, right? Then when it gets into game time, there it's a way different coach. It's crazy. It's right on the line as close to the field as we can get because that's our passion. So I would say a little of the good kind of crazy, but the discipline in love with the game coach. But then just all around, whether we're in practice or coaching or working with my athletes, you have to be a Gumby and you really have to mold to your athletes in order to be who they need you to be. So I think they'd all kind of describe me as different. Maybe the cool aunt would be the overall phrase, where she's gonna have fun with you, but if you're out of line, she might not put you back in, right? So it's one of those for sure.
And how valuable is that to you, knowing that your players all have different ideas and versions of you, that they can lean on you in one way that another student athlete might not be? So you being able to be malleable to your student athletes.
Yeah, I mean, I think with this generation, it's something that we have to be more intuitive of being, right? I have my one kid, she's my workhorse. I know she needs it tough. She likes that, but then also I don't allow her to be that type of player to her team, but she can be that type of player to me because we all need an outlet. But then I have my engineering and nursing students that could run circles around me. And I just need to be calm. And how can I help you, coach? I always joke, I say, don't come to me for math or A&P or anything of that. But I'm really great at tissues and I'm really great at coffee runs. So I think it's how you mold yourself to them. But then it's church and state here at Wilkes with us, where then once it hits hockey time, like because I love you, it's my job to coach you and hold you accountable. So I think the more that you're relative and real with them, the more you get to tap into that personal level.
I love that. I really do. That's a very unique kind of coffee and tissue type of deal. I really appreciate that coming from knowing how athletes were. I mean, we crossed paths when I was at Cedar Crest and you at Keystone, and going further into now Landmark School where I went to Moravian. The athletes we work with, all of them are very different. So having that person they can rely on being multifaceted, that's a huge credit to you, being able to make yourself, like I said before, malleable and fit what they need. Let's move into your tenure now. So you're embarking on, what is this, your third season?
Yes. Yep.
And let's talk about the first two. What did you kind of go through? What were your seasons like? What were your athletes like?
Yeah. So year one, it was just about as fairy tale as you could get. The team that had come out of COVID at Wilkes, it was one that it was stuck in go, if you will. So I came in, I was fortunate enough. I had a very heavy, like the grad students, the fifth years doing their COVID, senior heavy, but then also a lot of juniors as well. So the style of play that we had played was very wise. However, it was one where, we came in and we knew they had a job to do with the goals that they had set, and they did it. And then they met another goal, and then they met another goal. So it was such a rewarding year for them, and just a really great energy. And then we brought in 14 freshmen and we got really young, really quick. Like you said, the landmark, right? It's what we joke within our program, we have a seat at the big kids table. The landmark it's a pretty tough conference. We have a lot of respectable names and institutions that we face end of September into October. And it's one where when you're young, in a good way, right? They're going to eat you alive. And well, we got eaten alive. So it was a little rough, but then we hit spring and we grew and we learned and we did the things that we needed to do. And we just really didn't have time to do it. I'd say to coaches all the time, I coach both sides of the ball because I coached in a fall season and I coached in a spring season, right? So, field hockey compared to women's lacrosse, field hockey is a sprint of a season, whereas lacrosse, it's a marathon. You do have at least a month to get them ready or prepare them or teach them or maybe mold them a little ways that you need to. And with us, we get them for a week and then we go play a game. And then we have another 4 days and then we go play another game. And if you're crazy like I am at Wilkes, you have then 3 in your third week, right? So it's one where it's just game after game after game. So for them to learn at that fast-paced level and then be in the level of school, it was just way too high of expectations that I had on them. And then this year we brought in another crew. This one's really special to me. I've been working on them for 2 years now. So they're truly my true recruits that I was able to build that relationship with, understand their character, my expectations, their expectations. And so far, it's been so refreshing. The sophomore and freshman class that we have, they're so young, but they're so talented. And it's one where we're just really enjoying the time of growth, enjoying our seniors before they exit, and then really just the vibe of the team and where they're at this year. It's been so enjoyable to be a part of.
And you alluded to expectations. What are some of the athletic expectations that you have set within your program?
Yeah, well, I think we kind of hinted at it before. I love to play fast. You can't coach speed and it's hard to defend speed. So we're trying to play at a faster pace. But then I'm very blue collar. I'm gritty. I love that dirty nose defense, muddy game. We had to joke my first season here at Wilkes, it rained every Saturday that I played at home. And not just rain, like downpoured. So I think it alluded to my personal style. I like to be gritty. I like to keep it simple and do the fundamental things well, because if you do fundamentals well, you don't need the frou-frou stuff. So it's one where just kind of simple meat and potatoes type play, but really gritty and speedy at the same time.
And on the other side, what are the academic expectations you have within your program?
Wilkes University is one where we hold ourselves to a higher level of an academic standard. The majors and the fields that they study here are so impressive. So it's one where you have to have not just a great, work ethic, but really time management and being able to balance both, right? Both being a student, but being an athlete. I really stress to the girls, it's awesome that they want to come and be obsessed with field hockey here at Wilkes. We're Wilkes University. You're not going to go play for USA field hockey after here, right? So we need to nail it in the classroom first. And then the cherry on top is field hockey that we get to do every day.
You mentioned the last big 2 recruiting classes you have. Where can student athletes find you and your staff? Are you attending recruiting events? Are you going to different things? Where can they find you finding future colonels?
Yeah, so seasonally, we kind of go with the flow of recruitment. Obviously, a big one coming up is going to be Thanksgiving down in Virginia. My assistant, E. Vickery, will be down there. And then the typical winter escape in January. But then when it's the spring and the summer, we enjoy going to a little bit of the bigger tournaments, but we really enjoy, I love Limelight. Limelight was just such an OG tournament for all of us coaches back from going back at least 10 years ago. So tournaments like Limelight, Surf and Sand, College Connection does a lot of great things with their cups and things that they host. So we're really all over the place, but it also, it allures to, where are our recruits going to be? Where can we see the most and kind of really be sure to seeing them live in action. And then, a big thing for us in recruitment is we don't want to just see you play live one time. We want to try and see you more than once. So trying to balance all those things. But where we are geographically, it's really easy for us to kind of pop in and out wherever we need to be.
Do you host any camps or clinics, or can they find you being a guest at any camps and clinics?
Yeah, so we have our visit day that's going to be coming up, just as simple. It's too important to be playing field hockey for somebody else other than your high school, especially in the end of October. So we just want kids to come hang out with us and visit and attend a game, see us coach and play live and understand the environment that you'll, possibly could be in. But then our big thing is our spring ID clinic, that that new class and that group, bringing them in. For those who, maybe at the time are looking to get ready to commit, that's that one last refresher and reminder of what campus is like and what we're all about. So we have that in the spring. And then our goal this summer, for the first time ever, now that we have our good base of our recruits in and we got some meat on our bones, and especially locally, we'd like to host a summer camp. So we're really excited about that upcoming opportunity as well.
Excellent. Talking now about your recruits, how important is it for student athletes to step foot on Wilkes campus?
It's so important, but not just Wilkes, but like other places too, right? I'm really corny. I always try and have analogies for everything. So I always say at our ID clinics, the college process, it's like buying a good pair of shoes. Okay. So you could go get the flashy fly shoes, right? But they're gonna hurt your feet. You're gonna have blisters by the end of the day, and you probably really won't wear them. Whereas if you go get a decent, nice looking, comfortable pair of shoes, quality shoe, right? They're gonna be comfortable. They're gonna mold to your foot, and you're gonna wear them for the rest of your life. That's what the college process needs to be like. You've got to go come visit us, but then come back again, and then again. And then it's awesome with Wilkes. We always have a lot of events and programs and things going on that can help us bring them back more. But that's the one thing that we just stress is, go see people, but then come back and see us too and make sure it still fits well and it's a good fit. Because if it is, and after a couple of times seeing some other people, it still feels good, there's probably something behind that, right? It feels good for a reason. So that's kind of my pitch, so to speak.
Love that for sure. Definitely how important it is for yes, if you're interested in a school, you step foot on that campus. But it's also important to know if you step foot on another campus, you feel that that's not the fit and Wilkes is for you. So being able to be exposed to numerous things, knowing that you can find, as you mentioned with Kings in your recruiting process, your home away from home.
Yeah, we always say, it's one where we're different. Our program is different. I'm different. Our style is different. So it's one where we physically need you to come feel and get the sense of the community. Go visit Lynn. She's our receptionist in admissions, but she's like the mom of all moms. So it's like right when you walk in, you're going to feel that welcome. You're going to feel that. Our president, university president, Dr. Kant, he's always walking around. Walter, our pup, he's always around. It really is, for being, a city school, it's a home away from home. So it's one where we can't stress enough. Just come feel us out. And if it feels good, well, then keep coming back.
Awesome. Let's talk about the values that you look to instill into the student athletes, the individuals that choose Wilkes University for field hockey.
You have to be disciplined. If you're a disciplined team and a disciplined individual, your attentiveness to other things, it's just going to be heightened. But my biggest thing is I just want to work with good people. I really enjoy what we have going on right now with our team because they're good kids. And I know every coach says that, right? But like they really are good kids. They're funny, they'll tell you a joke, they're involved, they speak from the heart. And I think as a coach, the more that your team can echo you and your style is more of an expression of the lasting impact that you'll have on them, and then the impact of lives that they'll have on other lives down the road, right? So that's just really my main focus is being disciplined. Because if you're disciplined, you'll listen. I can coach you. We can do a lot of things. But then at the end of the day, if you're just a really good person and you've got good values and good morals, well, then we're just going to have a really great time for the next 5+ years.
And one of the last questions before we get ready to wrap up this episode, what separates Wilkes University from other schools?
I think the fact that we value being different. We love the fact that we're a box of crowns. We are all a different color. We're all a different shape. Some might be some really sharp. Some might be worn down from being colored a lot. But at the end of the day, we're all the same mold of a crown because we all love hockey. We all love what we're doing. We're passionate about being involved. But we're a little weird at times too, and weird is good. So I think that's what separates Wilkes from everybody else, not being the norm and not being afraid to color outside the lines every once in a while too.
Ashley Irwin, the head coach at Wilkes University. Thank you so much for spending time with me on this episode and shedding light on your story, your career, and the values you instill and look to grow within your program.
Awesome. LJ, thanks so much for having me. It was great catching up with you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Lehigh Valley Prospects podcast presented by Smith Sports Media. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel searching Lehigh Valley Prospects Podcast. You can stream the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts searching Lehigh Valley Prospects Podcast. Follow us on social media on Instagram at LV Prospects Podcast, on X at LV Prospects, and on Facebook at Lehigh Valley Prospects Podcast. Until next time, I'm your host, LJ Smith, signing off.